As we walk the dusty roads with Jesus today, we find ourselves at the very entrance to Jerusalem. That's what Palm Sunday is about. It's a story, but probably more accurately, it's at least 4 different stories because it's recorded in all 4 Gospels. You know, John's kind of John's own thing, but this is part of what's in John's Gospel as well. But the stories are not the same. They're not the same at all. In Mark 11, there's no huge crowd, just Jesus' followers, and Jesus is silent, looks around, and leaves. In Luke 19, it's also just Jesus' followers. It's subdued, no hosannas, no palms. But the Pharisees object to the disciples. And Jesus says, if these were silent, the very stones would cry out. A reminder that all of creation is participating in this event that is happening. In the Gospel of Matthew, in chapter 21, Jesus rides in on 2 donkeys. It's an unfortunate misunderstanding. Matthew doesn't quite get Hebrew parallelism. Matthew's very big on trying to say this is a fulfillment of a prophecy back then. And in Hebrew parallelism, a lot of times things are repeated over. And when he read the prophecy as he saw it to be, there were 2 colts, or there's 1 donkey and 1 colt. And so in Matthew, you have this awkward scene of Jesus riding on 2 donkeys at the same time, making his way in. And now it's the chief priests in Matthew, not the Pharisees, who complain about the children. The children. And you think about the kids today who are out leading our procession, the children. Have you ever heard somebody complain about children in worship? I know not here, right? But to have children in our presence, to be a part of who we are as church is so important. And in Matthew 21, in verse 10, Matthew says the city is in turmoil. The city is shaken, literally. The Greek word is seo, which means earthquake. Something big is happening in this moment in the Gospel of Matthew. And then in John 12, Jesus finds his own donkey. The only gospel that actually has palm branches mentioned. There's a bigger crowd, disciples, witnesses to those who saw Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead. The whole city went out to meet Jesus, as John describes it. And this time the Pharisees, not the chief priests, they say the world has gone after him. You can just see this surge of excitement around Jesus and Jesus' movement. The old me would have said, which story is right? The newer me says, which Jesus is right? I want you to imagine 4 gateways into Jerusalem, each gateway covered by a curtain, and behind there are 4 different Jesuses to choose from. Hold that thought. Do you remember the game show, Let's Make a Deal? With Monty Hall. Now, I have an Easter egg for somebody next week, the first person who can produce for me 2 paper clips. First person who's got 2 paper clips. Easter egg for you next Sunday. Front line in the breakfast line. How about that? 2 paper clips. Who's got 2 paper clips? That's 1. He's still looking. He's still looking. He only got 1. Oh, there we go. You wouldn't believe what all's in this pulpit. But you remember, that's how the game show goes. And everybody was dressed in costumes, and he'd get up and do different games with people along the way. His interaction with the audience was really what made the show work. But there were games that happened with curtains. I already heard somebody shout it out. Curtains and choices. Imagine 3 curtains up front. One has a new car. The other 2 have a goat. You get to choose one curtain. And so you choose curtain number 1. So curtain number 1 is there. That's your choice. Here's all 3 curtains. And Monty opens up curtain number 3 and reveals a goat. And he offers you this chance to switch your choice from curtain number 1 to curtain number 2. Now, hold that thought. I know I'm asking you to hold a lot of things, but hold that thought. Are you familiar with Marilyn Vos Savant? She was born in 1948 and raised in Missouri. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, she has the highest ever recorded IQ. She went to New York to be a writer, and back in the days, I don't even know if it's still in there anymore, in the newspaper, there was a parade section. And in the parade section of the paper, there was an Ask Marilyn column. About 35 years ago, she answered the Monty Hall dilemma. Okay, the Monty Hall dilemma. She says, suppose you're on a game show and you're given the choice of 3 curtains. Behind one curtain is a car, behind the others are goats. You pick curtain number 1, and the host, who knows what's behind the other curtains, opens curtain number 3, which has a goat. Monty says to you, do you want to stick with curtain number 1 or switch to curtain number 2? She says, is it to your advantage to switch your choice of curtains? Raise your hands. Is there an advantage? You've already picked 1. So now there's left 1 and 2. Is it to your advantage to switch, or does it really not matter at all? You can stay or not. Should you switch? Should you stay? Marilyn said, yes, you should switch. The first curtain has a 1 in 3 chance of winning, but the second curtain has a 2 in 3 chance of winning. Let your mind spin. I've done this metaphor before in a sermon and spent the whole week arguing with someone. The article received over 10,000 letters claiming that she was wrong, from casual readers, from statisticians, math professors, and the deputy director for the Center for Defense Information. Marilyn wrote 3 articles in defense of her answer. The objections were often harsh and personal and male. Scott Smith, PhD of the University of Florida, you blew it, and you blew it big. Since you seem to have difficulty grasping the basic principle at work here, I'll explain. After the host reveals a goat, you now have a 1 in 2 chance of being correct. Whether you change your selection or not, the odds are the same. There is enough mathematical illiteracy in this country, and we don't need the world's highest IQ propagandizing more. Shame. W. Robert Smith, PhD, Georgia State University. I am sure you will receive many letters on this topic from high school and college students. Perhaps you should keep a few addresses for help with future columns. E. Ray Bobo, PhD, Georgetown University. You are utterly incorrect about the game show question, and I hope this controversy will call some public attention to the serious national crisis in mathematical education. If you can admit your error, you will have contributed constructively towards the solution of a deplorable situation. How many irate mathematicians are needed to get you to change your mind? Glenn Calkins, Western State College. Simply, you are the goat. Or Don Edwards of Sun River, Oregon. Maybe women look at math problems differently than men. The problem is, she's right. She's right, and we can have this conversation later and play it out a little bit more. don't have time to go into all of it. There are many ways to explain it. But just imagine for a second, instead of Monty offering you 3 curtains, Monty offers you 100 curtains with 1 car and 99 goats. You pick number 7. So Monty opens every curtain except curtain number 7 and curtain number 86. They all have goats except for the 2 that aren't opened. Should you switch? What are the chances your guess is right? Curtain number 7 that you choose had a 1 in 100 chance of being right. But now that all the other curtains are open, number 86 has a 99% chance of being the one that has a car behind it. You don't believe me? Just run the test multiple times. Just do it with 3 things. Just sit down with a friend and do it over and over again. You will realize 2/3 chance, only a 1/3 chance. I just find this stuff fascinating. I don't know why it's a sermon, but anyway. Megan? It doesn't matter. It is totally possible behind curtain number 2 is still the goat. There's still a 1/3 chance that the goat is here and here. No, there's no solution there. Now, thank you. Where were we? That's not to Megan. That was in my notes. Ask Marilyn. Let's make a deal. Jesus entry into Jerusalem. Okay, all right, here we go. Why is this a Palm Sunday sermon? We last had 4 Jesuses to choose from, if you are holding your 4 curtains here. But there are many other hopes for a Messiah. The Zealots expected a military leader. The Sadducees expected a high priest. John the Baptist expected fire and judgment. The Essenes out in the desert were not awaiting 1 Messiah, but 2 Messiahs. So now we have 8 Jesuses to choose from. Or should we add the Baptist Jesus, the Catholic Jesus, the Presbyterian Jesus, the Methodist Jesus, the Episcopalian Jesus, or Quaker, Mormon, Zwingli? Next Sunday is the most attended Christian holiday, but those same sanctuaries are almost empty on Friday night. Those people whose Jesus doesn't die. Or there's an ancient tradition that actually Simon of Cyrene ended up on the cross, not Jesus. That the vinegar was just a drug that made it seem like he died. Therefore, he could still live. Or those people who just like the happy stories. How many Jesuses do we now have? And counting. Or the picture that I can't even put up on the screen of Jesus as a boxer in the ring, wrapped in the American flag. How many Jesuses out there are there? I haven't found it since the move, but Adam gave me a fun little set. It's a magnetic Jesus, and then it has all these different clothes that he can wear, whether it's traditional, what you would see Jesus in, or a tie-dye shirt, or priest's vestments, or you can just trade it out anytime you want to, whatever Jesus you want. Let's say we have 100 Jesuses, and in 2,000 years, there's probably way more than that. It's like a fun house with multiple mirror images all around us, but which one is the original? Here's a hint. If the Jesus you like looks most like you, like your culture, your social class, your wealth, your skin tone, your theology, your prejudices, that ain't Jesus. So which Jesuses are left? I can hear the self-righteous mobs, just like against Maryland, common folk and pastors, even great theologians indignant. It's so easy to get entrenched in our Jesus, always saying it's others who are entrenched in their Jesus. So back to our gate with 4 curtains. No, 100 curtains, I think we ended up with. 100 entries to Jerusalem on 100 donkeys with 100 different Jesuses. Which one do you choose? Let's say God opens all the curtains except yours and curtain number 86. The Jesus behind curtain number 86 is a Jesus who speaks for the poor, who provides free health care to all, who embraces the outcasts and says in Matthew, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." But then later in Matthew says, "Put your sword back into its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword." A Jesus who says, "If any of you wish to be my disciples, then take up your own cross and follow me." A Jesus who faces the powers of the world, the realities of life, and truly dies. In the old vaudeville days, if the act was really bad, they would bring the curtain down. In gangster movies, impending death was announced as, "It's curtains for you." This Holy Week, may all the curtains come down on all of our pretensions, all our oversimplifications, all our efforts to sell God short or cheap. Legend has it that when Jesus died, the curtain in the very heart of the temple was torn in two. Curtain number 86. Come, let us go and see what and who will be revealed. Please join with me in prayer. O God of the journey, thank you for this day of joy and energy and celebration. We've already had a peek at what is to come. Prepare us for the darkness, the doubt, the sadness, the entire loss of hope. So when we gather on Easter morning, we come wondering and waiting and watching to see if indeed your Spirit still lives. These things we pray in Jesus' name.